been about a month since the last update video came out, so in terms of the actual duration of when the update was made, if you know what I mean, it's probably more like 5 to 6 weeks or whatever. And since then, I've got my PO4 right down. I got it about 0.02 reasonably consistently. On the journey to that, I started having cyano turning up, which I expected. But yeah, everything was going pretty well. This is all in regards to algae. And then I had one of my very large, true Mexican turbo snails. I can't think of the proper name for them right now. But the ones that you get to get a decent size on them. I had 2 of them, and I've had them for 4 years, I think, nearly. Very little survived. When I moved house and I kind of lost everything in the move, a very small handful of things survived. Those 2 snails, my 2 Nazareth snails, dirt snails, whatever you want to call them, and 3 of my original Trocus snails, or strawberry top snails, blah blah blah. So really all the cleanup crew that I've got are you know, 4 years old. I've not bought any. It's a matter of breeding in my system. Mainly Trocus snails, but I have bred Nazara snails too. So in all fairness, I think the two Nazara snails that I've got are actually ones that are they're not actually the original. They're babies of the original. Anyway, one of the 2 true Mexican turbo snails died. It was at night. I saw it flipped on that big rock that's just matted with algae. And I thought, oh gosh, just flipped off, flipping back over. I didn't realise at the time it was dead, and I didn't check because I was going to bed. So I just flipped him over and thought, I'll see how he's doing in the morning. And I checked on him. And my shrimp, my cleanup crew are having a whale of a time on him, so to take any positives away from the fact that one of my cleanup crew, long-term cleanup crew, died. Everyone had a done good meal out of it. Animals like that, crustaceans really, they're definitely snails. If any of them die, or you think it might have died, try and confirm it reasonably quickly, because they are like a nutrient nuclear bomb going off in your tank. They're going to start decomposing extremely quickly. Anything aquatic really that dies is going to decompose very, very fast and release a lot of shit in your tank. So the mistake was made. I didn't take it out till the morning, and you know, I have no idea how long it had been flipped anyway, because I'd been at work and no one was in the house that day to check on anything. You know, it can't be helped. Point. If you watch my last video I did on the HANA URL, whatever it's called, phosphorus checker, you would have seen what my phosphate reading was. Come back down, got cyano again. So yeah, it's just the old thing, little tweaks. Well, there's little bits, but there's not a lot that I can grab out myself. A lot of the times with algae and that, just to speed the process up a bit, I'll take what I can out myself. You know, if I wanted to do that at this point, it'd be a case of taking the rocks out, scrubbing them, putting them back in, which isn't ideal really. So I've got a lot of corals now that are actually based onto the rock. So yeah, I'm at a bit of a crossroads on what I want to do. I'm always at a bit of a crossroads with this tank. When I restarted this tank, when I knew I wanted to go just SPS, the previous tank was all LPS. At the beginning of the tank, there was a couple of things I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Whatever I have to do to get to the, you know, from A to B. It's a learning process, and we'll see how we get on. One was a purple tank. I knew I wanted one fish that was just like one of those fish that when you see, like, whoa. You know, it's a little bit more of a purple tank's like the entryway into the sort of high-end fish. It's the cheap one of the high-end fish. You know, it's not like a black tang or you know, some of the really crazy ones. Leonardi wrasse, which is another one of those fish that, like, in the future I kind of want. Really would like one. It's not quite in that price range, but still. I mean, generally speaking, I wouldn't even, you know, if someone's going to set up a REEFER 250 or whatever, and they said, oh, I'm thinking of getting a blah 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 tank. To be honest with you, I fall into that category of people who say don't do it unless you can 100% say that in, call it 2 to 3 years, depending on how well you feed it and how, you know, generally good its health is and whatever else. Are you prepared to upgrade to maybe something that's in the 6 foot region of aquariums, something that's probably in the like maybe 180 gallon realm, where you can keep him in there and he'll be totally stoked, all to, you know, he'll be happy, plenty of swim room and all that sort of stuff. Obviously I always knew that this is not a forever home for any of these fish in here. Anyway, I'll track that on a bit. Purple tang, acropora and clam. I wanted some sort of really nice ultra clam, or maybe 2 or something like that, but to be honest, looking at it now, I don't know really where it would go, because you want to see, I kind of like looking at clams like long ways, and I think there's like one spot here in the corner that it could go, so maybe, no, yeah, so if I got a clam it'd have to be a tiny little thing, and I don't think their growth rates are mad. I think they grow very slow from what I understand, but you know, secondary things were things like foxface, rabbitfish, specifically a gold spot, but I like all foxfaces and they're super cool, extremely good algae eaters, and they've also been known to eat bubble algae, which I've always had a little bit of bubble algae in this tank. I have got emerald crabs, but where the bubble algae actually grows they're not going to be getting to, so they can't really touch it. And as you know, a copper band butterfly, so you know, I've always stressed out like shit that if I bought anything, no matter what it was, that the purple tang would maul it, so I've always been kind of on the fence about, you know, I kind of be thinking, oh, I'm going to go fuck it and I'm going to get either a copper band or a clam or whatever, because I don't think you can keep it, I'm not too sure that you can really keep the two together without accepting some risk. And you know, a couple of fish, maybe some sort of dual blenny, something that really takes out the rock and that, you know, with the algae and stuff. Long story short, I think I really need to look at maybe upgrading my cleanup crew. And besides that, I mean, you know, look at this video here, like if we can overlook the algae during this video, because I've explained it enough now. In terms of coral growth, especially considering the inconsistent PO4 levels, algae growth and colour is really coming on leaps and bounds. I think there's some upgrades I'd like to make to the tank. My 2 gyre pumps, just, you know, I said previously that I didn't think my 130, the original gyre pump, was pulling its own anymore. And to be truthful with you, even the 230's really starting to, I don't know, maybe I just need to clean them. Maybe I'll do that again and see how we get on, but I'm almost tempted to replace the 2 with the new 300 series. And they've got that weird little flap thing on the top of them. There's every chance that, in regards to the future, I'm hoping to make some very sizable aquariums, like really massive aquariums. It'll take a long time, but it'll be worth it for its impressiveness and, you know, what I can learn from it and whatever else, and just to see what I can do. It could be an absolute train wreck. It could be amazing, who knows. But anyway guys, I'm always on the fence of, like, you know, if I in the future, upgrades for this tank will be standard on the next tank, if that makes any sense. Nothing that's on here now, you know, these pumps and everything else I'll probably use for quarantine. In fact, this tank, if I keep it, will probably end up being for coral quarantine. I probably won't use the lights again, maybe, I don't know. But you know, on the next tank, if there's an Apex system on there, I think I'd want to buy that system for this tank to learn how it works and get comfortable with it, because again, I've not used a computer aquarium controller like that. You know, if I upgrade the lights, I wouldn't mind using new lights on this tank again, get a feel for them on this tank, and then move over. Stuff like that, you know, 300 series pumps. If I get them, I'd like to get them on this tank, try them on this tank and be like, okay, that's what the deal is there. A decent skimmer, you know, the new max spec skimmer, whatever the hell they call it, that dual fucking whatever it is. That looks such a good skip, you know what I mean? It's the footprint's not that big, and they reckon it can do enough for a 70. I think it's something like a 1,700 litre tank, or something like that, which is massive. So you'd have to dial it right down for this, but it'd just be interesting to see. Another thing I should mention, actually, thinking about it, my ALR1 Clerper, sorry, not Clerper, algae reactor anyway, Catamorpha. I cleaned it out a couple of weeks back and everything in there was melted. So I should say that's from dosing phosphate remover, which is I think it's like lanthanum chloride or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the chemical is off the top of my head now, but I think it's something along them lines. I think it's what they dose in the big public aquariums, and they've just scaled it down for home aquarium use. But my theory is that everything in the reactor's melted because I'm dosing with that stuff. But I've cleaned it all out and everything, started it again, and it seems to be doing all right again. So I don't know. I don't actually currently run that reactor on the 12 to 12. I'm running it on full term, just because like I say, I'm trying to keep down my get my PO4 right down. When I get everything balanced again, I'll probably go back to running 12 to 12 reverse photo period. So if you don't know what that means, when the lights are off, the reactor's on, the light in the reactor's on, and then vice versa. So that about sums it up. Currently the tank is eating 5 mil of each of the trying solutions a day, so that speaks for itself. Sometimes you can see the numbers go up, but you can't see the numbers in the corals, if that makes any sense. You can't always see the growth straight away, because I don't know, they might just be getting dense or whatever, or this, that and the other, but I can actually say that I can see the growth going on at everything's base now. And I always like this idea that if a coral's not putting so much energy into growing this way, that way, and the rest of it like a big tree, if it's growing its base out, that means it really wants to grab onto the rock, build a big foundation for itself, and go from there. And long story short, I think you're going to end up with a bigger, stronger coral. So if you see a coral basing out, something's going right. So anyway guys, I think I've just about covered off the top of my head everything I can think of. No doubt I'll turn the camera off now and be thinking, oh shit, I should have mentioned so and so, but yeah, still fighting down, doing the last couple of tweaks on the PO4, still just trying to keep it down. I don't alter my feeding routine, they eat a lot, I feed a lot, so I haven't adjusted my light schedule. Nothing's really changed. I'm just changing how often I change filter floss and the reactors, skimmers, checking my dosing, all that sort of stuff. So that's really the way I'm going at it. I've done a couple of water changes when something really goes wrong. So yeah, all the best anyway guys. Keep it wet.